got more traps, and so what I try to do with all my traps, I try to keep them somewhat organized. That way, if I know I need snares or I need coon stuff, I've got everything in a tote ready to rock and roll. I know for my coyotes, or if I'm going to run a western line, I've got my 650s, 550s in there. I've got some Bridger number 3s. So inside here, this is a MB 650. I'm a really big fan of it. This one's just an offset jaw, it's not laminated. I do have laminated in here too as well. That lamination's on the outside of the jaw. Huge fan of that, it has better holding power. I'm a big fan of the offset. You don't lose as many, it's a little bit nicer on the animal. And then inside here you're going to see a swivel, another swivel, inline shock spring, a swivel, and then another swivel. This is for a steel stake, or excuse me, a rebar stake. And so this is going to keep moving. It's not going to clog up. It's going to be more gentle on the animal. They're not going to pump the stake. You got this spring on there, and so that's a compression spring, so it really helps and doesn't do as much damage to the animal itself if you do have to release it. For example, out here, coyotes are open year-round, so we can start trapping them pretty early. But if you did happen to catch a fox, you did happen to catch a bobcat or something, it's pretty simple. You can actually release them, and there's not that much damage to them. So I'm a huge fan of them. But so these guys, one thing to keep in mind after you dye them and wax them is that on the dogs, so on the pan, you want to make sure you can lift it up and down. I run a really stiff pan tension. I shouldn't say really stiff. For me, it is it's probably 4 pounds. And the reason why is we have a lot of jackrabbits out here, and so if I have a jackrabbit at my set, I don't want to get ruined by having a jackrabbit and missing a coyote. So I have it pretty stiff, but I still catch dogs, as you can see. But you got the dog on some of these, and so my traps have been night latched. So it just means there's a little deal in there. There's an audible click you can hear when you set the trap. But you got to make sure after you get done dyeing and waxing them that you take a file and you work in there and you make sure you clean off your dog on the end, and then you want to clean off on the pan itself where it's been night latched, so that way it's not loaded up with junk. You know, it doesn't have the dye in there, it doesn't have the wax in there. It's going to operate better. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but hear that audible click? And so that's just locking down on there. And so the pan's level, all this modification's been done. It's 4 coils, base plated. It can handle any coyote. You know, I know there's stories out there of guys catching mountain lion and bear off a 650 or a 550. This is a 550. It's just a little bit smaller of a trap. It's got a different pan system on it. The 650s are called dogless. It just means this is the dog right here. There's not one on there. It actually latches onto the. I guess we can just set one real quick. Got it? So now it's set. And so on this, obviously we're trying to get the coyote to step right here on the pan, but there's no dog back here. So it's pretty simple. When you're handling traps, I highly recommend grabbing them down here. Knock on wood, but haven't done anything too stupid yet. Except for last year, I did get myself when the guy just asked me if I've ever trapped myself, and I said no. And literally 2 seconds later, I trapped myself. So, but yeah. So this is a 650. You can see the pan size and everything else. We do have the 550s, which I'm a big fan as well. You can catch about anything off this trap. I mean, there's nothing in Nebraska, at least, that this trap couldn't handle. It's a little bit smaller. It's got a smaller pan on it, but it's also got a smaller jaw spread. Every state's got different rules. So this guy is a really good trap for most states, so I'm a big fan of it too. And how it sets, it is night latch as well, but it's a little bit different of a system. And I'm a fan.
So what would you say your favorite trap for coyotes is?
For me, it would be absolutely the 650. can see the pan size difference. Pan size, jaw spread.
So 650s on this side.
This is a 550 and this is a 650.
Okay.
4 coiled, 2 coiled, makes the trap faster, makes it stronger. You're paying the money for it, but you definitely get what you pay for, especially with traps. So I've had really good luck with these, both of them. You can't set these off, you just gotta flip up the deadest side. I got the Bridger number 3 modifieds. So we talked about those. They're four coil base plated, welded, laminated jaws on it. Caught a lot of coyotes with these. They're kind of the workhorse, it's kind of the WD-40 of trapping. You can catch coon, coyote, bobcat. It's a little big for coon, but it will do the trick. Those are the traps I like to run. Underneath here, I've got additional traps as well. You don't have to have this many to get going. I grew up being a snare guy, and so I've always known snares. I just really got a foothold the last few years. And it's just gradually you have to build it up. By no means you have to have this many traps to go, but I do like to run a big line. We don't have the huge coyote population out here like there is in the eastern part of the states. So you need more steel in the ground. It's just plain and simple.